It's raining.
Glen Yawns.
It was snowing with big flakes, and then it's raining here as well now. Yeah.
I just clicked go live.
How are you doing?
Were you talking to me, Jen?
No, I was asking how Sandra's doing.
Okay.
Good, thank you.
Hey, good buddy, got your ears on.
I guess it's that time again, guys. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Everything looks good. We're on to go there, Annette.
Yes, sir.
Okie dokie. So are there any additions to the agenda? Okay, Jen?
Just when Jason's in, I want to talk to him about, I got an email about a dog park, and I know that this is more of a Kevin thing, but she was just asking about plowing into Legion Field. So when he's with us.
Okay. Anything else? Anyone else? I'd like to add another closed session on top of the one that I think that we already have regarding an identifiable individual. Can I get a confirmation, a mover for the confirmation of the agenda, please? Brent? Thank you. Any pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof? Seeing none. Can I get an approval of the minutes for the November 17th? Jen? All in favor? Okay. There's no delegation, so I can guess we can move right on to Darrell if he's there. I see Darrell's in the waiting room. There you are.
Yep.
Hey, Darrell. Good to see you.
How are you today?
Good.
Good. Okay, I guess you got my report. So mainly we're working on budget and their 6-year plan and our drinking water quality management and getting ready for an inspection. The ministry is coming soon to do an inspection. They're going to give us, they said, a fair bit of notice. So, but it's supposed to be in December yet. So other than that, that's pretty well it.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Darrell?
Perfect.
That's it. That's it, Darrell. Well, we could talk about the deer hunt if you wanted to fall into fill up some
Well,
space
it wasn't
here.
too exciting.
Okay. Well, that's good. So if nothing else there, Darrell, thanks very much.
Nope, that's it. Okay, thank you.
See you later.
Bye, Darrell.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so I see Jason is sitting on standby. So Jason, if you want to come ahead on.
Sorry.
Hey,
Hello,
Jason,
everyone.
how are you today?
Hey, Jason.
How's everyone doing?
Been good.
Good, how are
about
you?
yourself?
Good, thanks. Okay.
How bad was
I know
Foymount?
What's that in it, Jen?
How bad was Foymount?
Over 6 inches, maybe close to 7. With a quite a variety of rain and freezing rain and everything else.
It's crazy.
Yes, for sure. All right, so number one on the report is the memorial bench at 210 Queen. I was in discussion with the person that wants to put this bench in place, and we kind of found an area that was going to be suitable for it. Now the gentleman also asked if we could also cut some asphalt out and make it more presentable in this area. and fix up some of the sidewalk. So I didn't see the being a big issue. The pavement isn't that,
It's a lovely addition to the village.
it is, yes.
Yeah, that corner's always been a bit of an eyesore, so it's good to get it cleaned up a bit on our end, so.
Yes, for sure. Now, they also asked, there is a little step that used to come up off of Queen Street. So where the sidewalk ended on the right-hand side, people would come across Queen Street and then come up onto the other sidewalk. Now it's 3 steps and it is in very bad shape. So I think we're gonna remove it and then put some asphalt in there. Everyone generally comes up through the driveway because it's sanded and everything in the winter, so.
Okay.
Any questions?
Oh, looks good there, Jason.
Okay. We had a mutual aid meeting with the county and most of the municipalities in the township. What they're suggesting is that because of COVID and any other possible emergencies in the future, they would like to get an agreement drew up between all the municipalities where, say, someone runs short because of COVID or whatever emergency later on, where the county would be the coordinator in all the disaster or emergency situations. And if we had available people that we could send out to different municipalities or at the county themselves.
So,
No.
Jay, what's your feeling on this? Are you worried that we might exhaust our own people, or is this something that you think we should absolutely participate in, or a hybrid?
I believe we should participate in it. There's a few obstacles I think that has to be put into the agreement. Annette has gone over it, and everyone was supposed to give some input into it. I think it would be very valuable. Anybody can run into a situation where you need more help. So if other places can definitely, help us out, well, it would be greatly appreciated, right?
Right. Well, I don't think it's any different than mutual aid for fire departments.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, yeah, I think it's great.
One thing I was going to add there, Jason, we've all been in that situation where we always, whether it be personal or municipal, we've been in a situation where we've needed help. And because of, the enormous geography of Renfrew County, the type of help that we may need from one location to the other is going to differentiate, right? So, in the lower areas with the flooding and such, and then, there's so many different, occurrence or different types of help that may be required, within, the whole county where, someone from, say, Laurentian might be better suited at or have better expertise. I think it's a really good idea to get on board with it, because if we can do so within, especially, it's still a small group of people within Renfrew County, we all need help sometime. That's all I can say. So if we can help them out ourselves, that'd be great. Merv?
Yeah, we've already had to go to the county a number of years ago. I think it was the first snowfall. One of our plow trucks caught fire and the other one broke down, and we ended up borrowing a plow truck from the county. I mean, that's helping one another.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, and I think to Tim's point, hearing Jason say that Flymount got 7 inches of snow, we got about 4 here. Eganville got less than 1. I think that sort of proves out where some of our higher levels need more assistance. So I think you got your answer there, Jay.
Okay, sounds good. So number 3, the Christmas lights. We helped the recreation install the Christmas lights. They turned out really well this year again. I wasn't
The
at
tree lighting was a bit unusual because there was no hugging. We had to have hot chocolate outside, but you know what? We had great attendance. Annette put it on YouTube. It's gotten tons of views. I think the last time I looked, it had 95 views. So although not traditional, I think with the help of John Park Wheeler and Michelle Robichaud and Dana and Kevin and you, I think it went off very nicely. And although the tree is wee right now, it's so nice that it's permanently planted there. I like it.
Yeah, it saves a lot more work too for us and Kevin. Right?
Oh yeah.
Be going around hunting for a nice sized tree and then having to dig it in, and it definitely going to save some work for everyone. Number 4, I was in contact with Mary Lyons at the Ministry of Natural Resources for information on the waterway in between Lake Clear and Little Lake Clear. So now Mary is going to be looking into some type of funding if there's anything available. I was in contact with a contractor just to give a rough estimate on how much it could cost, and it's very expensive. Now we have controlled the water level with removal of that dam. It has really dropped the water significantly, but in the future, I'm thinking we're going to have to do something with this waterway. It's just holding back too much water.
Mark?
Jason, is the water deep enough there? Can you suction it, or are you going to have to dig it?
Well, there's different options.
Work well suctioning it.
Yes, there's different options for sure, Merv. The gentleman that I talked to, he would dredge it. So like right now, with what he has for this operation, they would still need a 4-foot draft to get their barges in and out, right? So the other, that's going to be the other problem too, is all around the lake there, it's very shallow. So there would have to be a dock put in where they could unload the barges, which is part of that big expense, right?
I was just thinking the Ministry of Environment got involved there, dredging it would maybe stir up too much silt that they wanted suction, so it'll stir up less silt, help more friendly to the environment. But I don't know if there's anyone around here that does that.
Jack, you had something to add there?
Yeah, Jason, when you were talking to Mary, did she comment at all about what we'd have to do, or would they be looking after the fish end of it? Because you're going to have to do some.
Yes.
Screen. And like we'd have to probably get a biologist in, and you know what I mean? It's not only the dredging, it's the maintaining of the fish in the environment there. Right?
That's right. Yes, so she was gonna get all the particulars together, Jack, and send a package to us here, and then we can go through it and see what would be involved for the total end of it.
Yeah, I think that there's going to be a lot more than just a quote on dredging.
Yes.
Yeah.
So is there a possibility in your notes there that she might be able to secure some funding to help? Is she looking at that, or are we supposed to, based on the information, do or estimates or grants, whatever? Is she looking after that end, or would we be responsible for that?
Mary's going to look after that to see if there is anything, Jack. And then, if she finds something, then we can apply for it for sure.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chair, if I may, before we go on to your operational review, Jay, I don't know if this is something that we want to get into or not, but There was the initiative that a dog park was going to be built over by the water and sewer plant or by the Geo Trail. And of course, COVID ruins everything. And so I gather people are still using the ball diamond at Legion Field. The request I had was, is it called Somerville off 512?
Yes.
We're wondering if Somerville could be plowed. Apparently parking at the curling club and trying to navigate snowbanks is a bit difficult. And it was just a request until we can build a proper dog park. I don't know how council feels about that, but I think right now I feel like anything that gets people outside is a good thing, but I don't know how much time it would take. I don't know if it's, obviously that would be the last thing you plow, obviously our roads take precedence over everything, but just a request.
Are they to be using the ball field though as a off-leash dog park now though, Jen? That was my question. Because we've run it.
They're using it anyway. So, and we're requesting, obviously, if you're going to use it, you've got to poop and scoop and that kind of thing. For the most part, I don't think that it's been a problem, especially in the winter time. However, yeah, I mean, a proper dog park, off-leash dog park is far better than using our ball fields. I think this was just a request for the winter time. Obviously, plowing. Sorry, guys. COVID.
One small thing I'm going to say is probably going to happen is if the snow gets deep, things tend to freeze and people aren't as easily walking across the snow to look after their dogs at that point in time. And I'm thinking a lot of remnants may be left behind in the winter for that springtime cleanup. I wonder if we shouldn't talk to Kevin about this as well, to see if that's going to create an issue before we give any answer on going ahead to. Because you don't shove Somerville open at all right now, do you, Jason? No.
No, nothing at all.
Would that be too much to ask? Maybe see what Kevin has to say first before we.
Yeah, you know what, Tim, that's why I opened it up. But when I added this to the agenda, knowing that this is a Kevin thing, not a Jason thing, but I thought I better check with Jason at least and with council to at least see if it was something that he would even entertain. But certainly, Annette, perhaps we can add this to Kevin's agenda for the 16th, please.
The answer you need,
because I know, Heather Wheeler and a group had met at the library about doing this initiative, about fundraising for it. And, I guess things break down during COVID. So I do know though that people are using Legion Field.
So Jason, maybe if you may come up with, is it a task that would be easily done just by coming through from, Somerville and doing kind of a circuit and going back out past the splash pad there with the plow truck? Is that achievable with the tandem?
We wouldn't go down around, Tim, through to the splash pad. We would
Just
probably
turn around.
just turn around and then shove everything to the
Parking lot
west.
there.
Yeah, to the west, and then open it up that way.
Okay. And do you think that would be extra burden on the guys at all, like for a length of time, approximate?
You're probably looking at, depending on the snow, maybe a half an hour.
Okay. Well, okay. And again, this wouldn't be a priority road. It would be when you have time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So, I mean, and I'm sure that our residents will understand that.
And then you're looking at sanding it and, making sure that it's safe, right?
Right. So it's a little more involved.
Yes.
Okay. Let us chat with Kevin and then we'll get back to you, Jason.
Brent, you had something to add to that?
Oh, I was just gonna say it's too bad someone doesn't have like a skidoo that just wants to drive over the snow, create a little caterpillar path up until the diamonds, if that's where you utilize. Just because I think I look at it from the insurance aspect of it. It's like we are maintaining one of our last roads, and it is going to be utilized, so we have to maintain it the same as any other one. So, but we can talk about it with Kevin. But because I think we did close the baseball diamonds down in the summer because of all the dog poop pretty much that was building up, if I recall. That was back, I think, in June. But no, I can also send the documents for what Steve was doing with the dog park as well. He was working with Heather. I can forward that to everyone because there was a big ask for township involvement at the time as well. But I can forward that in everyone's email sometime today too.
That would be great.
This might be the little kick in the pants we need to get the other park on its way, right? That trying to get it shoved through, and it's a much more practical area, I think. It was a really good spot to have it going on. So maybe if we can put a little bit more incentive into getting that up and running down there, we can. I would much prefer if we can keep investing our time and energy into the other one in the future, because it was a really good idea, I think. You know? For sure. So that's good. There, anything else on this, guys? No? Okay, Jason?
So Annette, do you want to share the screen? Just if people are watching us, perhaps they'd like to see Jason's operational review.
I can do that.
And I think at some point too, I guess the fire chief has to log on because Jason and the chief have a joint venture as well.
Yes.
So why don't we get through the first parts of this and then we'll move on. Does
Okay.
that suit?
Yep, suit. Jason? Merv?
Yes.
I only have one computer this round. My personal computer packed it in on the weekend, so all I got is what I see on the screen.
Okay, well then even more important to share the screen so that Merv can see all the recommendations. I'm sure he doesn't have them committed to memory. I certainly don't, so that would be great.
Okay. Mr. Chair, did you want to discuss the other road agreement for Mr. Grennan, the one off of Feebig Road, before we do the operational review or after?
I think it'll be a good time now, as seeing Dave's not on. So if we can tie this up and wrap it up, it's a good way to be the most efficient with our time, sure.
I know it's kind of a planning thing, but also a roads thing. So I think it's in everybody's package, but if Jason had anything he wanted to add to it.
I was talking to actually Mr. Grennan last week, sorry, and he wants to put the concession to as close as what he can to our bylaw for roads. I sent him a bit of information, and we were going to have a site meeting just so we can both be on the same page with, you know, for when he does, or if it ever does go ahead, that it will be an open concession.
And does council have it, or committee have any issues with the agreement that was sort of presented, that was put together by our solicitors? And if not, then I will send it to Mr. Grennan, and once he returns it signed back to us, then prepare the bylaw for it to be passed at council.
Oh, I thought you did the agreement. I was going to give you kudos for it, Annette.
No, no.
Everybody's good with that?
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
My God,
Everybody's good.
that as good with the legalese.
No, that was, it was not too costly. Our lawyers were very kind to us.
But I think a site meeting is a really good idea, just so that, you know, so there's no misunderstandings because even, by Zoom or by phone or by email, it doesn't always work out. So I think a site meeting's a really good idea.
Yes.
Okay.
Great.
Do you want me to go ahead and share my screen then?
I think if that's okay with everybody and Jason there, if you want to go ahead and get that one going. At what point does does Dave overlap with it? Because he's scheduled for a few more minutes here, Jason. He
He's
should
right
be
here.
good too. Oh, perfect. Well, we might as well get it going then.
Okay. Okay.
Point does
Annette, could you make that just a little bit bigger?
We might as well get it going.
Just a little bit bigger.
Like I have it on my iPad, but Merv doesn't. I guess if Merv can see it okay, then it doesn't matter.
No, I can get up closer. That's okay.
Yeah, because it's my full screen. It's smaller.
Oh, there.
Is
Yeah,
that,
that was better, Annette. What did
is
you
that
do?
better? Okay.
No. You
The
did
other one
something
was
and it made
better.
it better.
Okay. So I'll let Jason, you can go through it and I guess I will just follow along with you.
Okay. So in the report, it's asking if a hot box would be a good thing for the township, and I totally agree with it. It would when it is colder weather or wetter and whatever else, it would save a lot of hassles by us bringing coal patch into the garage, keeping it warm for the winter, and it would definitely make things a lot better. When you put the asphalt in warmed up like that, it packs in better. It definitely fills the holes and it will stay a lot longer than normal. Now I have been looking online and that 40,000 is at the top of where a hot box would be. Now I can look online too and try and find used ones. As long as it's within our size, we'd be looking at roughly about a 2-ton for coal patch with the heaters and everything else that goes with it.
So Jason, do you have an indication if we make this investment of 40,000, which seems like a very good investment, this will in fact save us in coal patch and labor time, correct?
That is correct. Yes. Now you won't be able to do the whole. You won't be able to do the whole township with it, but you could definitely any of the bad spots in the winter for sure. It would definitely help us out a lot.
Now, Jason, just in case there's somebody viewing that's not sure what a hot box is, can you just kind of briefly describe what it does in case people need a visual? So how is it fired? Is it like a trommel, or does it roll the cold patch? Does it just basically like a heated dump box?
Yes. So it's on a trailer. It's a box about 7 feet long by 5 feet wide. It is got double lined box, so it has oil in between the two layers of the box and the outer, and it's like a radiant heat to heat the asphalt up. And it actually would have a tilt on it so that when you're getting lower, you could dump it back so that it's easier to work with. And it's diesel fired, the heater, and that's pretty much what it is. It's a towable trailer.
So the trailer itself. So where do you keep your cold patch prior to putting it into this, then, Jason?
We could still keep it out in the pile outside and get into it.
Because I do know it gets very hard in the winter as well.
Yes. So that Or we could actually, Tim, we could get bags of like emulsion that, you know, we could put into it.
Okay, thanks, Jason. Oh, Merv?
Just my view on it, I'm always leery about buying used, or you end up with somebody else's problems. You know, you might get one for 30,000 and then spend another 20 to fix the thing up.
That's right.
You know,
I agree. I think for the 40,000, I think it's a worthwhile investment.
yeah.
And one thing, guys, too, I can only, with this screen, I can only see 5 of us, so I might not be able to see your hand up. If you need to jump in, you might just have to, I don't like to say it, shout it out, but you might have to shout it out, okay?
So the garbage, I think we've pretty much dealt with that, correct? Or do we go ahead with it? Some talks about it.
I think their recommendations were excellent. And I really appreciated your comments on the Blue Box program, Jason.
Okay, yes, so that would be the next is the recycling. There was a new report came out, and that had gone over that, and it definitely is going to be an eye opener when this all comes into effect for sure, and hopefully there's a savings for the township for the Blue Box end of it.
Jason, my memory serves me correct, we're not going to be faced with that till about 2025, are we?
Yes, that's right, Merv.
It won't get around to us till about 2025, if I remember what I read.
Yes. Yes.
So,
I just,
go ahead there, Jack.
yeah. So Jason, so has the cost for waste with our new contractor, has that cost been pretty well stabilized, fluid, or is it? Like I know earlier in the year, we had really no idea. So is that settled down that we have a
Yes, it's running very, very evenly now. It's it's actually leveled up pretty well, Jack. Yes.
Okay. So it's something that we can revisit come budget or whatever and just see what the cost is that versus whatever other options we have.
Yes.
I just, because I know earlier in the year it was all over the place. So just wondering if that's settled down now that we have do we have a firm contract now? The one guy's doing it, or like one firm or not?
We have one firm doing it. We don't have a contract with them.
Okay.
There has been other interests, and they have come back with some pricing, and it's quite significantly higher than what we're paying right now.
But it'd be stuff that we could review come budget time. So you'd have
Yes.
all. Okay.
Yes.
Thanks.
Okay, anything else on number 2 there? And one thing, if I may add, Jason, just before we skip to the next one with the rural garbage pickup, and I know I was one of the ones to first start the research phase again, or kind of initiate it back when we were discussing about, buying a new truck. And that's where it all came down to was, shall we, look at the entire municipality to see if that's what the ratepayer wants. And at no time did we ever make a decision prior to doing our information. And that was what basically the last few months or whatever it may be was all about, was the research phase. And in no way, shape, or form has this council, made a decision without doing that in the past. And I just wanted to kind of settle that, this is good. We've got the numbers and we won't be proceeding with it. But until we have the facts, the numbers, and the actual evidence, I had it brought to me, by people out there at the waste site saying, why isn't my garbage picked up? I'm just here and there. So we have a duty, I believe, as council to put things forward such as that and give it our 100% to see whether it's feasible or not. And at this point in time, I will definitely agree that it's not a feasible option. Thanks, Annette. You have something to say there, Annette?
Oh, nope, just scratching my head.
Okay, sorry about that. So that's all I wanted to say. So anyone else want to add to that?
I agree with you, Tim. I think we heard loud and clear from people. I think it was absolutely worth the research phase. It was brought to me 10 years ago, and at that time it wasn't feasible. And we find now that perhaps it's not. Well, I mean, if money wasn't an issue, it probably would be, but I think that people have spoken. So yeah, thank you.
So number 3, tendering out of the sweeping contract. I have been through other municipalities where they have contractors that come in to pick up their sand. I have seen where it's been sitting on the inside of the curb for weeks before the contractor could actually come in and pick it up. The geographic of Bonnechere Valley, and especially Eganville, is very hilly. If we went ahead and brought the sand out of the ditches and all these other areas, if it's not picked up immediately, it's going to make us a lot more work. I can definitely get some pricing on a contractor to come in and see what their timeline would be. And, it's something that we've always done, was do our own pickup. And I think it's always worked for us. Like in town, we would generally spend 2 days on the connecting link and another 2 to 3 days, depending on the weather, on the side streets, and another day and a half in Foymouth. So, you're looking at about a week and a half to pick everything up with our own machinery, right?
Anyone have any comments on that?
Jen has her hand up.
Oh yeah, Tim can't see me. So Jason, I think if you don't see any benefit to this recommendation, I think you've given us a reason not to do it, and I'm fine with it. Thank you.
Okay, and I'm going to add something into that too, Jason. In the past, and we know of, with our service fees and such and usage for certain parts of our departments, how we have a fee on our sweeping and on our grading and such and so on and so forth. We are and have been and must be very competitive because we still have private people using our sweeping services. So for us to tender out, that must mean that we are still within the competitive area, kind of reassuring that it's not costing us more to use our own service if other people are using us. So it kind of drives a nail into that board, if you know what I mean. So I'm perfectly okay with us doing our own sweeping on that end, because we must be competitive, otherwise people wouldn't be using us as well.
Yes, that's very true, Tim.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, good to go there, Jason.
All right. So for the garages, some of the garages all the garages are old, other than the new addition that we have here at Foymouth Road. It would take some money for sure to, bring up the insulation factors in the building. The furnaces have been updated within the last, probably 15 years. They're all propane, so they're very efficient. Now the other garages have been updated also. I don't know, they're doing their purpose for us right now, right? They're housing our equipment, there's storage, there's lots of things for sure that are helping us out without building right now a bigger garage to house more than everything, right?
Jack, you have something?
Yeah, just a question, Jason, on these current garages that we have, what is the, like, are we pretty well using them all up? Do we have some vacancy? Do we have any buildings that were not being used, or are we running short of buildings? Or where we're at with these current garages? I'm just wondering the status of that.
No, Jack, actually everything is utilized in the winter months. The summer, there's still storage for most equipment that, we don't want to be sitting outside. Wintertime, we have to house a truck in town. We have to house the sidewalk machine, and one of our loaders sits in the fire hall, right? Because it's a bigger unit and it can't get into the lower garage. And then, we have storage at both those sites. And at our Foymount Road garage, we have all our parts, our oils, all that kind of stuff housed in a parts room. And Foymount is pretty much just a winter facility, other than for storage for us in the summertime, like with all our winter equipment, right? So it's always utilized to some extent. Now in Foymount also, the county does rent one bay off of us, so it kind of splits the costs for heating, electrical, hydro, all that kind of stuff.
So are we actually low on storage then, Jason, or are we good? Or are we we're okay?
No, we're good for storage, Jack. Yes.
Okay, thanks.
So let's address the elephant in the room, which is the roads garage and fire hall in Foymount. And I understand what the recommendation is and why they made the recommendation. However, I think that all of council feels that there has to be a facility, being that it is the highest populated point in Ontario, and knowing what kind of weather they got, knowing that it is a village unto a hamlet unto itself, and people's insurance would go up significantly. So I'm just wondering, Jason, and I guess the fire chief is on with this as well.
Yep.
Is there a plan for Foymount? Because seeing the photos and of course being at that facility, I don't see how it could be saved. But could we get an idea of what rebuilding on that location would look like? Or do you and Dave have another idea?
I'll go first, Dave, if you don't
Okay.
mind. So
Yep.
we had we met up at Foymount, Dave, myself, and Mark. We looked over the buildings inside and out. Structurally, the buildings are in great shape. Cosmetically, yes, they could use some attention. For what we're using them for right now on our side, it's doing what we need. But in the future, yeah, I think we're going to have to possibly look at something.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jason. The fire side, it's a strong building. It's steel, so there's really nothing's been compromised in it. A couple of issues: the floor is sinking in it. The drain has been severed. So I take it from people that have been up there when there was construction years ago. It severed the drain pipe from the fire hall side, so we can't wash vehicles in there. So it's a bit we got to wash them kind of outside and bring them back in, even in the winter time. So it's a bit tough that way. The width of the building is going to be a problem for us moving forward. Now, I've talked to a couple of other fire chiefs in the county about that are right now speccing out vehicles, and they're having a hard time as well with the size of them. Cab height and vehicle width is a problem right now for some of these people that have smaller fire halls. So Mark did say that we could, at quite a bit of expense, do something or try to do something with the roof line to bring that building out so we could widen it. That is something that I'd have to talk to Mark about again and see how you would go about doing that. Just the roof line, the way it sits, it's very difficult. According to Mark, it would be very difficult to add on. Not impossible, but very difficult to add on to make the building wider. The backside of the building, the building well is there, so we can't go towards the backside, towards the towers. So we'd have to come towards the parking lot if we were going to do anything. Yeah, the only suggest if we want to invest any money in that the fire hall itself does what it needs to do for us. Like it's a building's fine. It's a bomb shelter. It's got an office, it's got a training room, it's got the appropriate amount of room for what we need up there. It's just when we have to replace a truck, what we may have to do is just do a little bit more work and maybe look at having a custom built truck instead of buying one that's one that's already been built. That's the only thing that I can think of to get around not doing anything with that building. And we can spec a truck out and price it out as opposed to a stock unit. Stock units are always cheaper, but that's something we can investigate. Speccing out a truck that'll fit in there might be cheaper than doing anything to the building. Right. So I think we can go look at it both ways and figure out what's more efficient as far as where to put tax dollars.
What I was going to say there, Dave, if we can kind of get some numbers coming our way for council in the next little while, so we can kind of plan that in the same as what we do with roads and such and prioritize, because I think from what I gathered, their consensus in council is definitely we need a spot in Flymount because it's just the geography for sure, topography. It's its own climate for the most part. And I don't think there's anyone, as far as I know, on council that want to see that thing go away. And I've seen it over the years, and so have you, Dave, and Jason as well can attest to it. You know, even myself, I haven't been in the trucking industry all that long, but the size and the dimensions of the trucks have increased so massive, you know, even in the last 15 years. Just for instance, you know, my first truck, I could quite easily stand on the ground and look over the hood almost at the top of it. And now I have to reach up with my tippy toes basically to grab the hood to open it up. They're getting bigger and bigger all the time. And we're finding it out, you know, all the roads and bush roads and such, they have to be built up to compensate. So definitely the garages would as well. I'm just wondering, Dave, in the future, if that's even going to be an option to try and spec something out that small. Are we going to sacrifice something? Because what they've been doing in the last few years has been trying to get things away from the exhaust systems and such because of the heat that's coming off of them, right? The DPF and all that stuff is all taking up this these extra real estate on the side of the truck. So therefore, you've got to get everything away from this 1400 Fahrenheit internal combustion furnace basically underneath the thing. So are we going to be sacrificing pumper size? Or are we going to sacrifice, you know what I mean, if it's to fit the confines of the garage, because the trucks are still going to get bigger, and who knows what the next 15 years is going to bring with you know, environmental restrictions on what and the capabilities of the actual truck. Are we going to sacrifice parts of our fire suppression capabilities in order to compensate for a garage? And that might be a question, you know, we're going to have to take into consideration as well, you know, in doing so. And if we have to start planning, you know, to get this thing expanded, it's probably easier to take a few little bites off it year by year or whatever, or put it into to get it improved than to try and do it all at once, or, you know, or is it the time to save up and go from the ground up again? I do know that the steel structure that's there, I we walked through it the last time. It's an amazingly well-built garage, you know, as far as it goes for top down. But on the other hand, we've got lots of place to add to if that's the case too, because a lot of, you know, if Mark can give us an insight on that. One thing I would like to see, like I say, going forward is some numbers on what that would cost, and you know, maybe council can push that through for a budget item or a planning item in the near future. Then, because I really think that it's important to stay up with the technology, because the technology is always going to change, right? And we've, like I say, what we've seen in the last 15, 20 years, dimensions have been changing quite rapidly in that department. So.
Right. I think we would short sell ourselves if we had a truck built to fit the space. I think we don't want to take away any water capacity or our capabilities. And I think I personally think that's the way to go, to add on and build a truck that's suitable for up there, just because we know water is in short supply up there. So I don't think we should short sell ourselves on that either.
Just a point, Dave, did you guys look at maybe just building a separate garage, a standalone for the truck itself? Because if the building's good for everything else, what would be the cost for just a standalone separate garage for a new truck? It wouldn't be, it might be as involved as redoing the roof and everything else when you take it into account. And then you'd have a building that would be just for that truck alone. You'd still have room in your other bay for your existing truck, you know?
The only thing I thought about, I did think about that, Jack, but then I'm thinking heating, electrical, plumbing, like it would have to be a standalone, actual self-sufficient building. It wouldn't be able to capture what we already have up there if we just put an addition on. But I can go both ways. I can have a contractor quote out a building and quote out, you know, like an addition.
Yeah, because sometimes the new building is a lot cheaper than trying to make additions and everything else, and you know, and then you have something that when the truck increases, you can put it in.
That's right.
With a new truck, it's, you know.
And if we're going that far, what's to say we couldn't do a whole, you know, putting it out there, I hate to throw away a good building, but if it's not going to suit our needs, do a ground up approach, you know, take that one down and start from fresh, make it big enough to suit. Because, and I've worked for other people in the past where, you know, once upon a time, tandem dump trucks were the only thing out there. That's what the garages were built for. And, you know, a few years later, the triaxle come along and now the garage is too small. So they end up rebuilding it again. So I'm just wondering if we shouldn't at least research the option of what it would be to, you know, do a demolition and then start from fresh up there.
Well, because we do own the land, right?
Absolutely.
So we're kind of ahead of the curve there to begin with. Before we tread down this road, I just want to make sure that all 5 of us on council are in agreement that we are keeping the roads garage and the fire department on the hill before we send Jason and Dave out to get quotes, etc. I want to lay that to rest, Mr. Chair.
Yes, I think a show of hands to move forward with this if I can. I can't see everyone, so okay, Jack is yes.
Everybody's hands are up.
Everybody, thanks, Annette. So everybody's in agreement to proceed.
Thank you for that, guys. I just don't want the rumor mill continuing to churn.
Oh, that's good. Thanks, Jen.
Okay, I have one more thing, and then everything's good for you, Dave. So it was recommended that 2 public works staff get their water training and sewer training or wastewater. So I was in contact with Darrell to see what it entailed, and for these 2 employees to do this, they would have to still participate 12 hours per year at the waste and 12 hours at the water distribution part of it. Plus, then they would have training either online or would have to go away to get the training done. I don't know, we're running pretty thin as it is here. I don't know if it's something that is feasible or not. You know, in the summertime, we're running with enough staff just to do what we have to do because of holidays and, you know, all the other stuff that goes on in with construction and maintenance too. Anyone at council have any?
I understand the flavor of this recommendation. What Wayfinders is saying is that let's try and do some succession planning and backfilling from within the organization. But if you've spoken to your men and they feel, and you feel that they're already stretched, then unfortunately, perhaps this isn't something that we can accommodate.
Right. No, I do realize that, you know, we have to have, if there's a water break or whatever, like a wastewater break, you know, Daryl or the other Dave or Cody are always available and always there because they have to be there for the water distribution part of it because of the, you know, the way things have gone with, you know, sterilization and all that. So,
So basically what
we
you're
have-
saying, Jason, we do have a contingency plan basically set up within our system, right?
yes.
Like when you do go to an emergency situation, there's always somebody there that is basically certified on site or is aware of what's going on.
Yes. Yes.
So
They're just thinking, you know, down the road, if you know, if we had to have more people at these breaks but in the past, we've never had a problem with, you know, any of that. So I can't see us spending the time and the effort to put 2 other people in that position.
I'm okay with that, Jason.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I do also believe that when COVID hit and we were sort of having discussions about this, Daryl did, and I know he's not, he's left the call now, but he did say that we have a sort of a mutual aid agreement with, I'm not sure if it was Pembroke or Petawawa who could cover us off and we cover them off. And then there is also the Ontario Water Association. So there's Aqua as well, if we were absolutely in desperate need. So I think there is multiple different levels of backup there. Which I'm not saying, you know, if at some point down the road, both roads and water and sewer are stretched even further, should there be a shared person? I don't know at this point, not looking to expand staff, but you know, it's definitely something depending on what happens with the growth of the township and if that need comes up.
Okay, thanks, Annette. No, that's good to know then. And also to let everybody know that we're not just turning something away for lack of money or something. We do have backup readily available shall it need to be done. And I think that's the only thing that we have to really reassure everyone that we're not in an awkward position shall it arise. So perfect, thanks.
That's exactly why I wanted the screen shared for anybody that wants to see it visually as opposed to just hearing us talk about each of these recommendations.
Absolutely. Anything else for that now? Anything else for Jason on that, guys? Oh, okay, Jason.
There is,
Did you want to touch on any of the asset management or risk management? There's a couple more there.
yeah, I'd like to talk about the risk management end of it. It's okay, yes.
See that on my
So,
screen?
yes. So implementing GPS tracking in the plow trucks, I would highly recommend this. There is a number of municipalities that do this, for insurance purposes. We can always, that's part of the biggest thing. And, just if people have calls in that stating that, the road was never plowed or salted or sanded, then, we can always go back and say, yes, it was at this time. And it's just a good recommendation. And it also is a safety for the operators as well.
And now that the GPS tracking thing has become more and more prevalent in the real world, Jason, any idea of an associated cost with that in the trucks? Because I do believe that it's readily available with a lot of things. There's a lot of companies out there right now.
Yes. So there is also in that. So you're looking at about just off the top of my head, about $1,500 per vehicle. That's on the high end. So you're looking at
one other thing,
$12,000.
but before we go too far into the actual just one style or brand, another thing that's always evolving, and because of COVID and such, I haven't been in close enough contact with some of our MTO officials in the past, but it's been an ever evolving situation with e-logs. One day they are saying that it's only for people that go out of a radius, and then the last part of information I had received, that there was talks that anyone with a CVOR style of vehicle will be required to have it. So have you heard of anything along that line? Because with the e-log, I'm sure that there is GPS capabilities as well. If that is the case, would it be worthwhile for us to invest in that part of it as well at the same time?
I think, Tim, what we'd be looking at is also like for patrolling, that, it's a combination of both the GPS and, for our patrolling for wintertime, summertime, everything that would, and put everything together. There are systems, that we can put into the half tons for winter patrolling and summer patrolling where, we can go down the road and it's literally taking pictures, and if you don't see something, it'll actually catch a sign missing, or more for the signs and that kind of stuff. And we can literally, as you're driving down the road, you can actually talk and it'll make notes for you.
Okay.
But yes, we can definitely look at that other system as well, and just see.
It's just Jason. They're not certain just yet either with the requirements, I believe, because it's all over the map sometimes. I don't want to speak 100% on it, but I'm not even 100% sure what I'm going to be required. When hopefully things go back to normal. I'm just wondering at that time, as long as there's some sort of capability of when the driver's in, because essentially what the e-log does is it tracks the driver, hours of service, the whole shebang, right? So where you are, GPS, it's all incorporated into this one outfit. And I'm wondering if that's something, as long as it's up to the MTO specifications, and will they accept it for that? Shall we need to become compliant with that in our trucks in the near future?
In the future, yeah, yes, definitely got to think about the future, right? That's because things are changing very quickly.
Well, and let's be honest, guys, this is all about joint and several liability, right? It protects us, it protects the operators, it protects the public. Annette, could we just fix a typo? It's the works department, DEPT,
Yeah.
KEPT.
Yeah, I can't, maybe I can.
Just because this, I mean, this document is gonna live, it's a living document, so I just. Doesn't have to be done right now.
And I think Merv has his hand up too.
Oh, sorry, Merv.
You can see.
I
him.
was just going to comment on, I suspect there's more elaborate and less elaborate systems. About a year ago, I had the privilege, I guess, of looking at the OPP system, and they can tell where each other officers are. They can tell where the supervisor is. In other words, you could tell each driver could know where the other unit is, and the supervisor can know where each unit is at any given time. And if the supervisor leaves the office, they can know where everyone is. Now, I don't know if you want to go that elaborate or not, but we're going to do it. Might better do it right.
That's right. Yes, for sure, Merv. We will.
Everything is an ever evolving situation, I find. And I've noticed with our asset management program being installed before it was mandatory, it pretty well took that duck off the roll. And I think it's very important that we keep that type of model here, right? So we don't look at what's working just for today, what's going to work in a couple of years from now, and 3 years from now, or 5 years from now. And in turn, that thinking, I believe, will save the ratepayer a lot of money. Because if we're on board with things before it's a compliance issue or a mandatory issue, you know, for a lot of things I've seen that's been done in the municipality in the last few years, it's got us ahead of the game before we're required to do so. And no, I think we have to keep with that same track and way of thinking.
And Tim, it's so funny that you say that. So because we did our asset management plan long before it was mandated, the consultants that helped us do it were far less expensive than when it became a mandatory provincial regulation, where all of a sudden, and this is no offense to consultants, but the costs of the AMPs did go up.
Oh, for sure.
And liabilities aren't going to go away.
No, that's the other big issue.
Yes.
At least if you can
Joint and
keep.
several liabilities aren't going to go away.
No, for sure.
But
Okay.
every government says that they're going to try.
Is that for RMO3? Is that anybody else have any questions on the GPS system? No. Okay. Your next one there, Jason. Was that incorporated with it?
Yeah, they're kind of one and the same.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. What about the asset management? And that
We're
there's
on.
not really.
Annette, may I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Let's do asset management at the December 16th meeting.
Okay.
It would have been a perfect transition there, Jen.
But there's news, so I would prefer to
Absolutely.
wait. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. No, that
And a
works.
lot of this, now that I'm reading it again after yesterday, now it's you know, again, it's a living document.
Okay.
And we've really already done AM05.
Some of it. Yep. For
Yeah.
sure.
Yes.
Yeah. So. Okay. I'm going to, so do you feel though that do we need the fire chief or the public works super for the asset management discussion at the next meeting? Is there anything in particular that either of you want to add to this as far as the plan and the policy? Or we can have a discussion about it tomorrow in our team meeting. Maybe that's what I'll do. Okay. So I'm going to stop share.
Okay. Everybody back now?
Thanks, Jason. I
Right.
really, Annette, I've got to give you and your SLTs again, kudos for taking this document, breaking it down, giving us their recommendations on top of Wayfinders. I think that this was absolutely the way to do this report.
Okay.
Right.
Thanks, Jason.
right.
We'll see you at the next one.
Take care.
Before we move on to Dave, does anybody need a 5-minute break, or shall we just continue on? Everybody good? Okay. We're a little behind, so Dave, if you're ready to take us away.
Yep,
Take us
absolutely.
away.
So fire department has had a very busy last few weeks. Been out quite a bit on bigger calls, and have to give it to the crews. The attendance and the effort was excellent, and commend them for all their hard work for sure. Because it hasn't been an easy couple of weeks with the amount of stuff that we've had to deal with. So it's been good. I'm happy to say we have our recruit class of 4 is now responding to calls. So they got their first taste of a house fire a couple of days ago, and they're actively rolling on calls now in a learning process, in a learning type of environment. So it's working out well so far. So I'm happy about that. Now, under my training, two of our people that I talked about before that we're going to go down to Port Hope to get drone certification, that's been completed. So now we have 3 people that are at level 2 drone certification. So the plan is to have at least our officer group do the level 1 Transport Canada online. So we can go on, it's $10 a person. You go on, you do the test, you get a certificate. So it allows you, that's your entry to start flying drones. And we'll have the people that are now certified at level 2 do the in-house training, a little bit more advanced training for us. So I'm kind of excited about that. Finally being able to do that after all of the delays, 3 delays, I think it was, because of COVID. So I'm happy about that. Not much has changed right now as far as our inspections. We're doing a little bit here and there. We've been out to a few buildings, a few businesses. I imagine what will be next year or after the new year before we really start putting a push on and getting into places. And let's hope the numbers don't go crazy where it's going to handcuff us again and keep us locked out of being able to do our job anyway. But so we do have a plan for the schools because we weren't able to do Fire Prevention Week in person. We're going to distribute, I've been kind of collecting fire prevention materials throughout the year because we haven't been using them, obviously. So we're going to put some packages together for the schools, hopefully within the next week, and get them out to the schools so that the teachers can either do some prevention work with the kids in the class before Christmas, or they can take stuff home and do some activities, prevention activities with their families, and and at least it puts it back in their mind about listening for smoke alarms, CO alarms, fire safety, all that kind of stuff when the kids will be home for, I guess, 2 weeks now. So coming up. So
Dave, before we lose I didn't want to lose the train of thought. I don't mean to interject unannounced, but there's a lot of kids doing homeschooling right now, but their school is online or online learning, right?
Right.
I'm wondering if you can find out, or I can try and talk with Jenna, but my kids are doing it, and I've never heard them yet say anything about the fire prevention coming to the students that are at home. I'm wondering if that can be incorporated into, because they do like a math and an English, and I don't know if they get all the structure that they would have received as if they were in school learning, and make sure that it's very important to get it out to those kids as well.
No, absolutely.
They're sitting here in a Zoom meeting for certain subjects and maybe not getting the whole curriculum style, at the same time. So
yeah. So yeah, doing it. I'm not sure what the structure is like at the schools. Like if they have, is there a dedicated teacher that deals with just the people that are at home right now? as opposed to the rest of the school?
I believe so. But they're from, just for instance, Owen is part of the Upiongo group,
Right.
but his teacher was from Fellows, and he did Jenna, her school is Eganville District Public, but her teacher is from McNabb Braeside, and that's where she's learning from. So it's not necessarily a teacher from that school. So and that's why I'm saying when we're getting it out, even though that's their Upiongo is Owens and Jenna's is EDPS, the teacher and the facility, it isn't. So we don't know where, our neighbors could be, who that teacher is or what, so on and so forth. So I'm just wondering if we can get it out there so at least all the kids are involved in some sort of fire prevention, because it's very important, the education.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So, or what to do.
I'll mention it to the principals when I talk to them, and we'll see if they do it out of those schools, at least that they have some sort of program when they do their online training or online teaching, and maybe I'll put it out to the Chiefs Association as well, wondering how everybody is managing with getting fire prevention stuff out, especially for, like you said, the students that are doing online education right now.
Absolutely.
That's a really good point.
Thanks, Dave.
So I included in my package the new agreement for 2021 from the MNRF, and as usual, there's an increase. The protection fee is $1.37 per hectare this year. It's gone up. It says 0.6% was to September 20th, so I assume it's right around there as well. But anyway, that's for the province. That everything goes up every year. So I didn't see an increase as far as their outside equipment, such as their helicopters and their aircraft. I don't have an updated expense on that right now. We're still working on 2020 numbers. I assume that'll be out probably after April, when the fire season kicks up again. Also attached as well is a proposed bylaw to replace 2019-067. That's the extrication bylaw with North Algona Wilberforce Township. So North Algona their intent is to get into heavy extrication as of January. So when this comes into force, if council agrees with it and council's okay to pass it, they're doing heavy extrication anyway as of January 1st, but this new bylaw is modified to reflect that. So the biggest takeaways on it are the command structure. They didn't want us, when we go there, to be in charge of the scene. So we've negotiated a unified type command where they're in charge, their department's in charge of their department, we're in charge of what we do. Unified command is generally how you would do that anyway, because agencies that respond to a scene that are doing different tasks generally have their own commander for that specific task. So it's worked out okay. So if you saw in the areas to be protected Schedule C at the very end, that is literally our first response fire areas. So they want to cover everything else in their township going forward as of January 1st. So wherever we go for first response for fire protection is where we're going now for extrication, which takes Highway 41 from 60, the flashing light there, all the way up to close to Rankin. They want to protect that whole stretch of highway, as well as the highway going into Golden Lake on Highway 60. So it really takes away just two stretches of highway from us. They'll be closer. They'll have gear in Rankin, so they feel they want to cover that stretch. So, which is great. And as far as I'm concerned, in incidents like that, the closest haul responding is generally ideal. Time is of the essence, and if they can get there quicker than we could get there from Eganville, then the better. The better for the outcome of the incident. And another takeaway from it as well, another change is that we've changed, instead of billing the MTO, we're billing them directly. And we have been doing that anyway. It just wasn't officially put into the contract. There was more of a verbal agreement where we would just bill them for our services and then they'd bill MTO, but now it's official in writing. MTO also increased lately to $488.40 an hour. So that's a few extra bucks an hour there. So I'm not sure if anybody has any questions on the changes in the agreement or any comments on it.
Can you just refresh my memory? We don't have to change the schedule with regards to the MTO rates. It simply says that we follow the MTO rates.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. So there's no numbers to change. Like I said, the addition is Schedule C in our response area. And it's detailed in the roads and the low number on the road and the high 911 number on the road, and a little bit of verbiage change, but you know, the yearly administrative fee is not changed, and pretty much everything else is the same in the agreement. Everybody was good with that?
Everybody okay with that? Perfect.
Okay. And we'll move on, I guess, to operational review.
Everybody good to move on? Go ahead there, Dave.
Okay, so the first recommendation.
Is that big enough on the screen?
One size bigger would be nice.
I don't even know how I got it bigger the first time. Is that any better? I don't think I can make it any bigger.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's showing up the same on my screen as it was the last time now. Annette.
Here, there's a little bit bigger.
Good.
Hey, Dave.
Well, the first one, the recommendation was to include the fire chief in group management discussions, including a newly established senior management team. We've done that. Ned has organized that already, and we've had a couple of meetings so far, which have been good. So that's something that we've been able to do so far. Consult with the Ontario Fire Marshal's office. I have met in person with a field advisor. This prior to him retiring, so I don't have that contact anymore. But he gave me a good start on looking at our municipal risk assessment. So it's due to be done for the township, I believe, sometime in 2024. In speaking with Annette, we wanted to also look at a fire master plan in the next couple of years. But I think I'd like to have this risk assessment done prior to that, and I'm hoping to have the bulk of it done next year. So what the plan is, because we're behind in our inspections this year because of COVID, and are doing our pre-plans, I kind of want to combine 3 jobs into one. So I want to do the risk assessment, pre-planning, and inspections all at the same time. I kill 3 birds with 1 stone as we move our way through the township. And I think that will be a very effective use of time, instead of going out 3 different times for 3 different things. So that will work out very well for us in the new year. Down to 03. This is one that I give a lot of thought to. I know this has been years ago. This was a talk around the county. There was a company that was going around to councils trying to do, whether it be on fires or whether it be for motor vehicle accidents, trying to have the township go with them to be their collection agent from the insurance companies. Kind of concerned about it, and there was a lot of negativity surrounding the process. I'm not sure how council feels about it. Small municipality ratepayers pay for fire protection. They pay a lot through their taxes, and their insurance is generally a lot higher than it would be in towns and in cities because of the rural setting. You're far away from fire stations, fire hydrants, and whatnot, so you pay a premium to begin with. And I don't know what the optics on that. Whether if the person that's paying taxes and paying insurance finds out that we're going after their insurance for an extra little bit of money, that's maybe in the policy anyway, but I don't know. I don't believe in it. I think, generally the amount of money is negligible anyway, that insurance companies put aside for fire departments to try and access. I don't know what anybody else feels about that.
And you have something?
Thanks, Tim. So yeah, we were approached by this company many years ago, and the council of the day rejected it on its merits. I am absolutely in favor of what the fire chief has put forward. Our rural residents pay a lot of money in insurance. They pay money through their taxes for our fire department. I did not like the way the particular company that approached us was dealing with these incidents. It seemed extremely draconian, and I would not be in favor of this recommendation at all. Thank you.
Herb, I seen you had your hand up.
Yeah, I agree with Jen. When I read that, my first thoughts were no way. I'm not going to harass the ratepayers again. That's what would happen.
Now I can't see Brent or Jack. Anything to add to that?
They don't have their hands up.
No, I agree with everyone else that has brought that forward. I don't think that's the place for us to start shoving anything into. So, no, I agree, Dave.
So moving on, the tender fire communications to a service provider equipped and trained for calls. In a perfect world, that would be where we would want to go. But there's one department in Renfrew County that opted that way, and it was extremely expensive. And the remainder of the departments right now the consensus seems to be that we're happy with what the Ministry of Health is doing for us right now. Our service level is pretty good, and we're looking at anywhere from $5,000 to $7,000 a year. That's service and also our administration fee, and I think it's affordable, and I think the communication is good, and I really don't personally see, unless we're mandated to do it by the province. I don't see any reason to explore a different communication provider just because of NFPA standards. NFPA is where we're going with the fire service, but it's also an American standard. I don't see a problem with what we have right now.
Jack has his hand up.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Jack.
Yeah, Dave, I'm in agreement with you that, because if you're going to try standards, those standards are also, could be impacted by terrain and everything else, right? So the communications and stuff. So I think you're content and good with what you are. You just put in, we continue to upgrade our communications and our radio system. So I would see no need to add more cost to this.
Jack, our radios and our radio system would still be compliant. What they're suggesting is that we go to a place like, I think Brockville has NFPA, their full-time department. They have NFPA qualified dispatchers, but that comes as a cost. I think the setup's about 40,000, and then you're looking at about 30 grand a year to pay them to do what we really don't need right now. We get all the information, the proper communications, all the dialogue and all that kind of stuff, and everything is recorded. We're sent to Firefax, which has all our times, locations, all the information that we need right now through the CAC Center. So I don't think that the extra cost is even close to being worth it.
Yeah, it's not going to help with any of your calls and your services.
No.
Would be the purpose.
If we were a full-time department running, 1,000 calls a year, yeah, but we're not. And, I think that's the line you got to draw. If you were, then you'd want to go with something that's a little more structured and a little better, but we're not required to do that right now.
Well, and if it's not going to improve things, Dave, to a point where no, so I think we can move on with it for sure comfortably.
Yeah. So the last one is regarding the office in the fire hall. I think at some point down the road, it's going to have to be addressed. For me right now, I find that, a remote office is the best for me, especially being, a hobby farmer and a small business owner, and also doing this job. Being in the office strictly, being able to work only out of the municipal office would kind of handcuff me a little bit. I think I don't think for my particular circumstance it's required. That office there has now just become a filing cabinet. It's kind of a storage spot for me. But my actual working is done how I'm doing it right now. Down the road, potentially, if the council down the road thinks that this it's busy enough, or other jobs are into this, or sort of drawn into this job as well, such as other townships do, and you have a full-time person, obviously you're going to have to do it down the road. You'd have to have a proper office there.
Okay, anybody to add on to that for Dave? If you see anybody in that, let me know.
I will. We do
No,
just the extra garage at the roads department there that our municipal services officer used to be in, and there's no one in there at this time, although it's not a great spot for a fire chief because it's not near any of the fire halls. I mean, it's near, but it's not beside any of the fire halls, but there is an office space there. It's not massive. It's I don't know that it's any better than the one that's here, but anyway, it's something we could look at down the road. Or it might be better to look and see what space there is here at the office.
So most of my work is done on the server, right? So it's really, for me, it's where to put paperwork once I'm done, right? And that office serves that function for me.
Great.
We don't have a full-time fire department. Like, rarely is anybody ever at the fire hall unless there's a call or training or maintenance. So kind of a lonely spot too, when nobody's around, and it's way too small to be conducive to work. I think it was a broom closet at one point, and it's just not good. No, but like I said, down the road, planning for the future, at some point, an office is going to have to be thought out in that building.
But there again, that's something that can be addressed at a case-by-case kind of situation as well, right? Because
Absolutely.
if this is working for you, Dave,
Yeah.
and it's not costing us any extra, and you're comfortable, I believe that that's the appropriate way to take it. It's not impacting your work or work habits. It's the old adage, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, so to speak.
Well, and if one day the paramedics, there's a base that's in Eganville that's built, then the problem's solved, because then we'll have upstairs as an office, right? So if that happens down the road, so it'll fix itself.
For sure. Anything else for Dave on that? Anybody? Oh, well, thanks very much, Dave. That,
Thank you.
very informative. Okay, and
Care.
Annette, have a nice day, Dave.
You too.
We're gonna switch it on over to Annette. Annette, you're on mute too, by the way. Don't forget that.
And I will go to sharing my screen. Okay. Now, do that again and do that again.
Yep, that was,
Is that bigger?
that, the other one was better.
I trying. Okay, so we already did human resources. We did that one first in November, and then we covered off the administration, the asset management council. Okay, so we just have risk management. So asset management still has to be covered, but we're doing that at the next meeting. So we've just got risk management and long range planning are the only two to sort of go over today. So looking at risk management. So I did participate in a free webinar through CAMS College on risk management, on strategies and integration with Mr. Norman Marks. So still trying to keep sort of up on any risk management training or any other training that comes up. I know there's a lot of lawyers and a lot of consultants and a lot of different groups that's something that COVID really has brought out. You could probably attend 5, 6, 10 training sessions a day if you want, but there's only so much time and work has to be done. So I will definitely keep expanding that gap. The IT disaster recovery plan. So we have both Dana and myself worked with James, which is our IT consultant, and we have applied for some funding through phase 2 for the COVID funding to support this plan and to support our IT disaster recovery through, the server and the backup and all of those types of things. So we do continue to work towards that, and I haven't heard anything yet on the phase 2 funding. I don't know when we're going to hear about that. But we also are, some of that is going to go into our application for the ISIP restart agreement. So we are working on that as well. GPS tracking. So I think Jason pretty much covered all of that. We did have GPS tracking in our tandem trucks at the township I worked at previously, and it did save our bacon in one incident where there was a lot of snow accumulation on the road, and there was an accident, and there was speeding involved and many other factors. It wasn't just that, but the fact that we could prove that our truck was there 30 minutes beforehand really saved our bacon to be able to demonstrate that there certainly was no negligence on the township's part. So cyber insurance, yes, this is something that unfortunately continues to happen around the world, and municipalities are not immune. So it is something that we have received a quote in, and I will be including that in our budget for 2021 for council's consideration, so we can discuss it at that point. And again, Jason talked about the technology-based, the patrol log solution. So that's some software. And yes, that may be something that we can sort of have a conversation with next week. We're having Craig Kelly attend our CAO meeting to talk about the service delivery review and the economic task force. So it's something to have a discussion with him there to say, something to bring back to county council. And of course, Mayor Murphy can bring it back as well. Is this a software, just like county has helped us out through Municipal 511, county helps us out through our GIS mapping. So it's something where they're going to purchase it for the whole county, and it's going to cost this much. And to add on the lower tiers, it's a minimal amount to expand it to us. So that's something where we look to partner with the upper tier on. And we will continue to have conversations with them to do that, because that's the whole point. We got this money and we're doing these studies to prove to the province that, yes, we have been able to find efficiencies, and we have been able to come up with better ways to do things that not only save us money, but deliver consistent servicing. So, and I think that definitely a lot of these recommendations do that. So I don't know if there's any questions on risk management before I move on to long range planning.
Just to comment, as we all know that there was a cyber attack at the county level, and this is becoming more and more prevalent, and that is absolutely correct. Small municipalities are not immune, so I think that this is an excellent shared service from the county. Thanks.
Okay. I don't see anybody else, so I'll go ahead. Long range planning. So there was sort of a suggestion that we should be updating our strategic plan. I don't know, probably council looked at it at their orientation when you first were elected. So it is on the website. I did review it before coming to work here, and there are some really great suggestions in it, but it is quite a large document, and sometimes that people get lost in the weeds. Now, I do know that county just sort of reviewed theirs, and they came out with maybe a 2, I don't know if it's a 2 or a 4 pager. It's not a large document, and it's very helpful to sort of steer department heads. So when you're coming up with, here's a project that we want to invest on, here's what we think is priority to the county. It's a nice document to turn to if it's not too thick. It's a good document to turn to say, and this supports the priorities that council and the community have put forward. So definitely something we can look at, and we can localize to Bonnechere Valley, but still use sort of the county's when I say simple approach, I don't mean a lot of information went into it, but it's simple to use. It's user friendly. It's not simple, it's user friendly. That's a better word.
And then that was by design. We agreed as a council that less is sometimes more. And instead of just creating a document and having it sit on a shelf, utilize that document because of its simplicity.
Yeah. So that, yeah, and it looks great to me. So that's definitely how we're going to move forward, unless council wants us to spend more time on it and develop another large document like the previous one. So we're not throwing out the previous one. We'll take bits of it that are very helpful for sure. Master plans. I think the fire chief was just commenting on the fire master plan, and in discussing it with him, he's sort of got a plan for the risk assessments, the pre-planning, the inspections, combining them, doing them at the same time. Talk about efficiency and effectiveness right there. That's how the small municipalities get it done anyway. But that's a great plan to get all of that information collected first, and then move forward into a fire master plan once you've collected that information. So I support that recommendation, and I did it. The master servicing plan for water and sewer has to be done in 2021. So it's already been budgeted, and we've brought some supports in. Both I think Andrew Pauly and Brenda Polatsky are familiar to council, and they've been involved with them before. So they're going to be involved again to get that plan that has to be done, and that does have to be submitted to the ministry. So that's something we don't really have a choice but to get that done, as we need an update to our 5-year plan. So that's those two projects, and the long range financial capital forecast. We're going to talk about that when we talk about the asset management planning at the December 16th meeting. So any questions on that? Comprehensive zoning bylaw. So we know that the county is reviewing their official plan. I'm sure that Mayor Murphy will sort of maybe have something to comment on that for when the county rent for updates. So I won't say too much, but I did watch the county council meeting, and I thought Charles' presentation was excellent. So that isn't going to happen until 2022 or 2023. So that's a decision of council going forward. And I'll definitely be asking you that question closer to the end of next year to say, what should I be budgeting to look at it in 2022 or 2023? And there's good support for doing it both ways. You don't want to, we could end up with the same council that we have now, and that could work out, or we could end up with a new council, and they may not be as familiar with sort of what's going on in the community, and for looking at the comprehensive zoning bylaw. But at the same time, do you want a council that's sort of was the last council in as opposed to the new council, making decisions that are probably going to affect the township for 10 or 15 years. So there's benefits to both. And again, like I said, you could end up with the same council both ways and it doesn't really matter. So 2022 or 2023, something that definitely has to be done. And, that'll be up to council how you want to proceed. And there'll be public meetings and public input either way. So it's not like the public won't have their say when council's considering those the zoning bylaws or any changes to that. So is there any questions on that, the comprehensive zoning bylaw update? And it will be timely and it will be, will cost for sure.
And I've got a lot of notes about the OP when we get to the county.
Okay.
Update,
I figured you would. Yeah. And of course, the zoning bylaw is still all the townships sort of combined into one. So it is timely to get it done. So, fire chief, I already talked about the fire master plan, so I'm not going to go over that again. And the next one, so looking at, as we're talking about getting these critical master plans done and getting these strategic plans, it sounds like, geez, is that all we're doing is we're planning and we're not actually getting anything done? But that's going to support the township through the future and all of the different department heads when we're doing budgeting, when we're bringing projects forward to council. That's sort of our guidance document. So, before you're even looking at something, make sure that you look at the priorities that council has set and the plans that have been passed so that, the projects you're bringing forward really do set us up for the future. So that's the purpose of having these plans done. And so council should be looking for that in the staff reporting. I certainly will be, and looking forward to sort of referring to that. So when council's passing the resolution, it could be, one of the whereases that you see, whereas this supports whichever master plan we're supporting at the time. And here's why it supports that plan. And this is why we're going to be including this as part of our projects and our budget and going forward. So, and it should be a discussion we have when we get into budget is, what are our priorities and what are the key deliverables that we want for the township, so that we're not just talking, budget is dollars, but it's also talking about priorities and the community's wants and needs and things that have come up. And sometimes that does mean that certain projects get funded and certain projects don't, but I think it will make council's job a little bit easier when that is said. Remember, we discussed this and we reviewed this, and this is why we're doing it the way we're doing it. So sometimes that makes things easier. So especially with the resources being a bit scarce across the province, especially with COVID. So any questions on sort of long range planning? Those are the things that we'll be working on. And I think a lot of that is in asset management too, but I'll touch on that at the next meeting. Okay. And yeah.
Oh, thanks, Annette. A lot of stuff to process in a short amount of time. I just hope you don't tell me you're going to have a test on this at the end of the meeting. So the thing is, I guess we'll move on. If anybody else has anything for Annette, we'll move on to correspondence, if that's okay. Okay. So everybody had a chance to go over correspondence. Anything in correspondence we want to discuss?
A lot of townships seem to get a lot of stuff off their chest this week.
I was thinking the exact same thing, Merv. I'm like, wow, some of these municipalities, they went resolution crazy.
I look at it as a year-end clearance.
Yeah, maybe.
In correspondence B, I believe number 8 is something that may require some staff direction. The Royal Canadian Legion Military Service Recognition. Okay.
Yes, please. They need to know before the year end that it's not a budgeted dollar amount until 2021. So you don't want to allocate 2021 dollars without committee and council direction. So we've done this for many years in the past, and so do we want to do it again for the same thing? Is sort of what I'm asking. Thank you.
I'm okay. Everybody want to give a thumbs up to proceed the same?
Absolutely.
Okay. There you go, Annette. Everybody's good.
Thank you.
Anything else on correspondence? No? Okay. We want to go on to new and unfinished business. Jen, I believe you're up.
It just got really dark in my living room. I don't know.
I noticed that. Yeah.
It's terrible.
Well, the dark side.
So bear with me, few things from the county, but I am going to spend a couple of minutes on official plan amendment 31. First of all, we've moved the testing lab. We now have a COVID testing lab locally, so we will be getting quicker response and results. There was a heavy concern amongst the county councilors that it was taking up to more than 8 days to get results, which we didn't feel was acceptable. So that's great news. Just as a matter of interest, Whitewater actually put in an application. They want to do their own planning. I'll be very interested to see how that works. In any case, yeah, they've got different reasons for it, but I found it very interesting. Oh, and now the topic of the day, guys, OPA 31. So some good news. It deletes reference to population. The population increases didn't make any sense. For instance, if 8 people moved into Head Clara Mariah, nobody else could move there. Archaeology digs, if it exceeds 3rd lot, or if it's a plan of subdivision or industrial, it would need to be done. But the county could say for normal development, no, it doesn't. The environmental impact study also could be waived. Wildlife, fish, karst, you name it. They're suggesting that karst be a desktop exercise. Our expert planners coming together and sort of making a more sound decision. Lots of talk about secondary dwelling units, also small subdivisions, teeny tiny homes. When we talk about our zoning bylaw, that is something in Bonnechere Valley that absolutely needs to be changed. I know that other municipalities in the county of Renfrew do allow for secondary dwellings on the property, not just inside the home. And I think that's something that this council should take very seriously when we consider our long-term care homes and keeping people at home and out of our hospitals. And here was the biggie. This is where I'm going to leave it with you. There was suggestion that no development be included within a 1 kilometer radius of any area with services. So just to give you an idea, the field that is for sale just south of Fairfields and our new development, that property could not be developed under this official plan. Many county councilors spoke out against it. I do not believe it's going to get support. In his infinite wisdom, Charles Cheeseman said at the end of the discussion about the OPA, I hear council loud and clear. It would present enormous problems for municipalities like Horton that surrounds Renfrew, Amiston Bromley that surrounds Renfrew, North Algona that surrounds us. It would effectually sterilize some of our lands if we couldn't get water and sewer, or at least water to those lands. And I think about the property just on the other side of Legion Field. There's an empty field there. And so what they're saying is that without services, we couldn't develop there, or a developer couldn't develop there. So I believe Charles has gone back to the drawing board, and this is absolutely not something that got any traction at council, except for being upset about it and saying that just doesn't work. Some of our topography, we talk about our topography in Bonnechere Valley all the time. Our topography, our geography just does not allow sometimes for full services to go places. And so that's where we landed. I will keep you all in the loop. But if you want to watch, it was only an 8-hour county council meeting. So I'm sure you can find the OPA somewhere in those 8 hours. I'm pretty impressed that Annette went home and watched it. Annette, you need a hobby. Just saying, girl. But that's where we stand right now. So some really good news about the OPA, couple of glitches that we're going to work out. We fingers crossed. But I'm really, really, really pleased that it's gotten this far. I think unlike when I was warden, the public meetings for this OPA should be much kinder and gentler than they were when I was when I was taking on these public meetings. So yeah, that's where we're at. Does anybody have any questions about county? And just as an aside, our senior leadership team is heavy duty into getting their budgets ready for January. So very exciting. See, the wheels can stay on the bus even during COVID. Oh, and everybody heard that Debbie Robinson was acclaimed as warden.
Yes.
Yay. Congratulations to Debbie. Yeah, I'm very pleased. And I have asked to stay on as chair of FNA and Health Committee.
But yes, I agree with Jen. You're talking about next to the Legion Field, but look out Augsburg Road, the fields out there that could be developed.
I know. And 1 kilometer, I mean, that just doesn't work.
Ah,
No, and absolutely. And what about places that don't have services, right? So,
That's the challenge, right? So there's water and sewer behind Fairfields, but then there's another development with just water. So does that count? You know,
Yeah.
it's anyway, it did not go over well. That's all I'm saying.
ill-conceived.
Yeah. And I mean, I understand that through the provincial policy statement, the new provincial policy statement, that was their recommendation. They wanted to super saturate the areas with services prior to going out to places without services. That is an urban thing. That is not a rural thing. So just stay tuned. I think we will figure it out.
And we're going to review that at the next meeting on December 16th. I think county wanted us, Evelyn sent some stuff around for us to review to come back to them in January.
Yes.
Okay.
We just because county council was just last Wednesday, that's the timing of it didn't work for us. Since our packages go out on Wednesday afternoon and we weren't even done county council until 4:30, I think. So yeah, sorry guys, the timing didn't work out, but we certainly will. I did get the slide deck. Did you get the slide deck, Annette?
I think so. There's 2 attachments to the email. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I'll send that around for our next meeting.
I just didn't want this meeting to go by because I knew that we were talking about our zoning bylaw without having, you know, this is what the OP is suggesting. So that's my update. Thank you.
thanks for the update there, Jen. That's great. Anything else for Jen? No?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Thanks.
When we take a break, I am going to turn on some lights though.
Okay. Is it all right to move into tax adjustments, 357 application for 2020, number 2? And who
That's
wants
for
to-
this evening.
Yeah, the resolution will come tonight, but I just, in case anybody has a specific comment today, then we can change it for tonight if we had to. But
Any questions? I don't see any questions for Sandra or yourself there on that, Annette. So I guess we'll establish our next meeting date.
December 16th.
December 16th it is, 1:30 sharp.
it's a,
Brent, that will be your meeting.
Yes, ma'am. And we're gonna be having a delegation as well.
Okay.
It is a Wednesday, and that's good to remind me because I'm glad because yeah, you're right. Bring that out. Thanks, Annette, for the Wednesday.
Why
film
is
there.
it a Wednesday? I forget why.
I think you made it that, Jen.
Are you not doing,
you
are
made
you
it
not doing
because-
county budget on the 15th, Tuesday, the 15th? Are you doing budget at the county all day?
Yes, yes, thank you for the reminder. Sorry, I don't have my calendar up.
No problem. I remembered it was you. It was you that changed it to a Wednesday. That's all that matters here. Okay, all kidding aside. I see
And
there's.
so I hope all the department heads sent out the YouTube or the Zoom Christmas invitation to their staff for the 18th. And I assume all of council will be on that on December 18th. And then Shannon is doing his thing for our virtual Christmas party on the 19th.
Good. And I see no media, so I will, if it's okay, does anybody want to break first or do you want me to move into closed right away? Oh, I see breaks now. Okay, I was
Break
going
would
to
be nice.
stay a little longer because I made the offer before and sometimes they're a little short in between, so.
No, it's been 2 hours. It's time.
Maybe we'll take a break and then come back in, say 10 minutes for a closed session. So, okay, see you in 10. Do we want to log off and back on?
No, you can stay on. I'll just, when we come back, we'll do the resolution to move into closed and then I'll take us off YouTube. Because I just want people to be able to see we did pass the resolution to go into closed. And then I'll take,
Thanks, Nat.
thank you.
How you doing, Merv?
Oh, not so bad.
That's good. That's good.
Keep up with things.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think we'd be interested in that email that I got from Ron.
Yeah, no. I just forwarded it on to you for information purposes.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
That's to pay off.
I was talking to those guys earlier already this year, and the cost for that would be quite substantial. So
Well, we got to reduce some of the other debt before we even think about something like that.
yeah, yeah.
Was that email just unsolicited?
Sorry?
Was that email unsolicited or did somebody ask him?
No, unsolicited.
Still nice of him to, keep us in mind.
Enjoying some of my cherry cookies I made yesterday.
Nice.
You made cherry cookies, Merv. You made them?
Yeah,
Really?
sure, yeah.
No.
I can bake.
I'm not a baker.
Bake your Hello?
Baking is the one that goes in the oven, right?
Pardon? Yes, Terry.
Remind me not to ask you for any cooking.
Yes, I
tips.
got it. No, I got it. Thanks a lot. Oh, God, yes. Yeah. About an inch. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Oh, Brent's eating something too that is probably delicious.
No, it's just some crackers. So nothing crazy.
Oh, everybody's back and ready to. Oh, I see Sandra's not back. Sorry for jumping the gun.
She's just powdering her nose.
Do we do that anymore?
I don't know, but that's the polite way to say where she is.
Yeah, Tim, those cherry cookies I made yesterday, it's the lazy man's cookies.
Okay.
Take a cherry cake mix, number bowl, 3 eggs, and don't put any more moisture in it. Whip that up, and then I decided to cut up some cherries and mix in with it and bake it as cookies.
Oh, there you go. That sounds good.
Yeah. Now today is a little different story. I got some zucchini cookies, the batter waiting in the fridge to bake after I finish the meeting. They take a little more work.
Are they anything like zucchini bread? Or I think it was.
Yeah.
That's not
I've never had zucchini bread.
I
Oh,
love.
it's good.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Have you ever had
So-
zucchini quiche? Zucchini quiche?
No.
Oh, yeah, it's nice too.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know there were so many ways to make a zucchini taste good, because when you eat it just like that, I'm not fond of it, but and bread and other things.
Muffins.
Oh, zucchini muffins are great too, for sure. So if everybody's back, I'm going to move this meeting into closed session for reasons of negotiations and identifiable individuals. Can I get a mover, please? Murph, all in favor?